Syntax. The word syntax comes from Greek language, which means a putting together or arrangement. So, what do we do? In a syntax, we put words in a certain arrangement, right? That arrangement is a meaningful arrangement. So, the new approach in language is contrary to the old grammar approach, is syntactic approach. So, there was an attempt to produce an accurate description of the sequence or ordering arrangement of elements in linear structure of the sentence. So, for what we have studied, either by putting boxes or by using brackets, that we have arranged sentences in a linear model, right? In a linear model in which words were taken into a stretch, right? Whereas in syntax, we have some other approaches as well. So in more recent attempts to analyze syntactic structure, there has been a greater focus on underlying rule system that we use to produce or generate sentences. So under this approach, we emphasize or we try to know the rules underlying the structure of the sentence or the rules that generate sentence. So for example, we know that English sentence has a certain structure: noun phrase, verb phrase, and noun phrase. So we know this structure and we get a rule. Now we can make more sentences on this structure. The all and only criterion, we might say, a prepositional phrase. However, when we talk about these rules, we say that it must be all and only criterion. That means that the rules that we get through this exercise must account for all the grammatically correct phrases or sentences. For example, if we get a rule for phrase, a prepositional phrase, for example, we get a phrase near London, right? So it's a prepositional phrase because near is a preposition and London is a noun. But near tree won't be a prepositional phrase, won't be a correct prepositional phrase. So our prepositional rule that a prepositional phrase consists of a preposition and a noun phrase does not conform to this sentence, this noun prepositional phrase. So similarly with dog is not a correct prepositional phrase in English language. Why? Because a prepositional phrase consists of a preposition and a noun phrase, and a noun phrase consists of an article or a noun. If it is a proper noun, only in that case it can come without an article, or if it is a pronoun. For example, if it were this phrase near you, it would be correct. But in these two instances, these two phrases, prepositional phrases, are not correct. So near you would be correct because it's a pronoun. So to have it a correct prepositional phrase, we must have near a tree or with a dog. So the rules that we get in this way through exercising the generative rules, we are able to have well-formed sentences or well-formed phrases, and all these rules must account for all the phrases or all the sentence taking place in any language or in any other language. A prepositional phrase in English consists of a preposition followed by a noun phrase, as just I said. So an extremely large number of English phrases can be produced using these rules. So we can tell anyone, any learner of the language, that an English prepositional phrase consists of a preposition as a noun phrase. A noun phrase consists of these constituent. If there is a proper noun, then don't use article. If there is a pronoun, then don't use an article. But if there is a singular noun, then do use an article or a determiner. So another goal of syntactic analysis, a small and finite set of rules that will be capable of producing a large and potentially infinite number of well-formed structures. So the exercise of getting rules out of this syntactic analysis is that we should be able to have a set of limited of rules, but these limited number of rules are capable of producing an infinite number of sentences. So we all know that the rules that we apply in any language, be it English, Urdu, Arabic, or any language, has a limited number. But these limited number produce a lot of sentences. They are the source of creativity in any language. And obviously they produce well-formed sentences. That is very important for this. So the small and finite set of rules is sometimes described as a generative grammar because it can be used to generate or produce sentence structures and not just describe them. So this is how we get this type of grammar, which is called generative grammar. Generative grammar basically talks about rules, right, which constitute phrases and sentences, and how on the basis of these rules we can generate more and more sentences. This type of grammar should also be capable of revealing the basis of two other phenomena. That is very important. Number one, how some superficially different sentences are closely related. Superficially different sentences. For example, we take Ali reads a book and the book is read by Ali. So at surface they are two different sentences, but in their deep structure they come from the same structure. Similarly, how some superficially similar sentences are in fact different. For example, the king is easy to please and the king is eager to please. If you look at these two sentences, they are in their structure similar structures, but so far as their meaning is concerned, they are different. The king is easy to please. In this structure, the king can be pleased, and in the second, the king is eager to please. The king is the subject of pleasing, right? So these type of sentences have been very difficult to explain by the traditional grammarians. With the help of this generative grammar and these generative rules, we are now able to understand and to explain the structure of these, the deep structure and the surface structure of these sentences. So generative grammar tells us about rules which can generate new sentences.